Wheat from Ukraine arrives in Africa. The first aid shipment from the World Food Programme reached harbour in late August, carrying much-needed grain destined for Ethiopia. Since July, only 2 such humanitarian deliveries have taken place, while more than 100 commercial cargo ships have set sail from Ukraine. Russia says European countries are the biggest winners.
Practically all the grain exported from Ukraine has been shipped not to the developing and poorest countries, but to the countries of the European Union. Just as many European countries acted in previous centuries as colonialists, this is how they continue acting today. They have once again cheated the developing countries and continue cheating them.
Under the Black Sea Grain Initiative, ships from Ukraine pass through an inspection centre in Turkey. The majority of their cargo stays in Turkey, which buys some 19%. Of the rest, European Union countries have collectively bought 38%, followed by Asia and the Middle East. African countries have so far received just 6% of all the exports. While the poorest nations have seen the least of Ukraine's grain, the United Nations has defended the deal, saying it has helped by putting downward pressure on global food prices.
Because of that drop, people who had been hoarding grain and hoping to sell it at a high price are actually now selling it, which is putting more on the market. And hopefully that, Rebecca, will bring some of those local prices down too.
Russia is also upset that its fertilizer exports haven't restarted as agreed under the deal. A pipeline carrying the fertilizer ingredient ammonia from Russia to Ukraine's Odessa for export by sea has been closed since the start of the war. The UN is trying to get it flowing again. Time is running out. The current deal expires in November. Unless all sides agree, grain and fertilizer exports from Ukraine could again come to a halt.
Let's get more from Yulia Hahn in Istanbul. Welcome, Yulia. Is President Erdogan likely to be sympathetic to President Putin's dissatisfaction with this grain deal?
Well, the Turkish president played a key role in brokering this so-called grain deal back in July. He has, I believe, no interest in seeing it fail. Turkey is one of the countries that has so far received most of the grain shipments from Ukraine. But Erdogan is also carefully balancing interests between Kyiv and Moscow, and he has echoed Putin's criticism of the deal. But I should add that Putin's claims, and I quote him here, that almost all of the grain shipments have so far gone to European Union countries is simply not correct, not according to the figures we have from the United Nations, who are overseeing the entire process. They say that about a third of all exports have so far gone to low and lower middle income countries in Asia, the Middle East and Africa. So the question is, why is Putin trying to discredit this deal now? I believe it is because Russia thinks it's not benefiting from the agreement. The agreement officially also allows Russia to export grain and fertilizer free of sanctions, but that's not, it seems that's not what is happening right now. In practice, Russian grain exports have decreased in recent months. The numbers of countries buying or willing to buy from Russia has decreased. There are still many restrictions when it comes to shipping companies to insurance, to banking. Now, Turkish officials say they have pushed on an international level for that to change. So I think this is going to be at the core of what President Erdogan and President Putin are going to talk about today when it comes to that grain deal.
And you mentioned Mr. Erdogan's balancing act with Russia as a member of NATO, a Russian military client, and with competing interests in Syria. It's going to be hard for him not to be accused of playing both sides.
Well, this is already President Erdogan's third face-to-face meeting with Vladimir Putin since Russia invaded Ukraine in February. I should add that Turkey is not a member of this Shanghai Cooperation Organization, but Erdogan was invited by Vladimir Putin to attend. Now, this summit, led by Russia and China, is seen by some as an anti-Western alliance. So I believe Erdogan's attendance is eyed with a lot of skepticism by Turkey's partners in the West, in Europe, Europe, in the US. Ankara has so far not joined any Western sanctions on Moscow. Western capitals are unhappy with that. Turkey continues to receive tourists and finances from Russia. They're continuing to trade, and there are serious concerns in Western capitals that Turkey might be helping Russia to avoid sanctions. So I think this summit today also sends a signal to the West.
Thank you for that, Julia. Julia Hahn in Istanbul.